In this video, we're going to show you how to repot vegetable seedlings from these peat pots into their final home here, which in this case is a raised garden bed where they're going to grow up and give us all kinds of delicious, in this case, fish peppers. So first you got to know, when is it time to repot these? Now, these are about 7 weeks since sprouting. They originally sprouted in 1.5-inch seed cells under a light. They grew up there for several weeks before we moved them to these 3.5-inch peat pots, where they've been growing for another 3 or 4 weeks. And now typically, as long as they have about 4 sets of true leaves, so remember this first set of leaves here is a cotyledon, that's not a true leaf, but here you can see we have 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, we have our 5th set here. These are good to go. So we're ready to repot these. Now, what you need to first do is prep your holes. So I've had little indications here of where I want my holes, because what I did is there's 3 here. So I measured them out evenly to give them maximum root space for each one. And now we're gonna dig a hole. I'm gonna grab a little spade here. I'm just gonna loosen up that dirt. And I'll say this is Miracle-Gro potting mix. I'll show you on the screen a shot of what that looks like, but you just kind of work out a hole. I'd say usually you could pre-moisten this soil as well, but this has been out here for a few days and it rained recently. Now, one key thing you want to do here is make sure that when you bury this thing, that the root base here isn't above the top of soil here. It's going to make it flimsy. The wind could easily snap it. So it's okay if you even bury it up to these first set of this cotyledon leaf right here. Now, next, these are in peat pots, meaning that they're biodegradable. You can actually see the root bases coming through here already, so you don't actually need to take these out. Sometimes, depending on if they're not already growing through the bottom, I will kind of pull this off just so it doesn't have another membrane to get through. But since we already have a pretty healthy root system here, I'm going to leave that the way it is. I am, though, going to peel back some of this where you can see the root base is not really starting to come out the sides, and that way I can kind of break some of it up. You can see some of the roots are starting to get to the sides, but they don't tend to grow out the sides as fast as they grow out the bottom. So I'm going to do that a little bit. Not going to go down too much farther because I can start to feel where they're starting to get into the holes, or sorry, into the peat. So once I have that out, I want to make sure, just a rough measurement, that it's about that deep. I want to make sure my hole is. See, we're not actually quite there, and you don't want that thing sitting up too high. So we're going to make that even a little deeper. I'm going to loosen this up a little bit, try to just massage it gently. Gives the roots a little bit more ability to, merge with the dirt they're going to be placed in. A little bit more. You can see you have a lot of those loose root ends. I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to place this guy in here. We can see that it is below the surface, so I think I feel good about that. We're going to push our dirt back around. I'm okay if those first set of leaves, which aren't the true leaves, the cotyledons, I'm okay if those are underground. I'm just going to push this in. I'm going to make sure it's nice and firm. Kind of make sure it's, upright. And there, I think we are pretty good. So that's our fish pepper plant in its final home. This soil is pretty moist, but just to get things going, what I'll probably do, or I will do, is I'll give this guy a little watering over top, just to make sure all the water kind of melts the 2 sets of the soil from the peat pot and the other together. Then I'm going to go down the way. I'm going to put my other plants in here. And yeah, so that's how you repot a vegetable seedling.